Hello and welcome to Lifestyle Mastery. I am your host, Dr. Sheila Smith. And as I always say, and today I have a treat for you, and you are not going to be even ready to hear this, but I do want you to take great notes because you're going to learn a lot today from this wonderful woman. Today I have Marilyn Crawford. She is a brand architect, a master brand architect, deemed by the New York Post Page 6 as the marketing mogul. She is a global award-winning master networker, strategic marketing, media relations, business development expert with a proven track record creating strategic partnerships, but epic impact event experiences, unique content creation, and business strategy. Maryland has unprecedented success in the last 30 years with a formidable presence in corporate entertainment, technology, media, sports, art, and the fashion industries, and strategic leadership, public and private partnerships, corporate philanthropy, and community investment. Maryland has become more than 360 degrees of brand acceleration. Did you hear that? 360 degrees. My goodness. Brand acceleration, public relations, engagement marketing, image refinement, event design, crisis management, content creation, and celebrity procurement. Maryland is widely recognized as a strategic global thought leader, providing strategic targeted partnerships and consultancy, brand development for clients ranging from corporations, countries to cities, film, celebrities, including technology, universities, and foundation association group. She is currently a partner in Malta Equities and serves as the president and CEO of Windsor Prime Time. She is dynamic. She's loyal. She's savvy, vivacious, charismatic, and passionate. And I'm just going to bring this wonderful woman to the screen. Lady Marilyn Crawford, welcome.
Hello to your beautiful audience. Hello to you. I am so elated to be here with you. I'm so excited.
I am too. When I found out who you were, I was so excited about what you were going to bring to the audience because this is an audience of women and some men, but audiences over the age of 40 that want to, reinvest, just restart their lives over again. And can you talk a little bit about what it is you do, who you are, and I'm just gonna let you run. Yes.
Oh, well, first of all, I'm a people lover. I love people. I love life. I appreciate it, and I am blessed. So whatever I can do to enjoy life, to enjoy people, to make their lives better, that's really what I do. That sums it up, and I get that from my mother and father. So I lost my mother and father over 45 years ago, and but their parent takes keep playing in my head. And my father and mother were so dedicated to their community, to their culture, to their relationships with people. People don't realize today, because we've gone so far from the personal touch, the intimacy. We're so into selfies and the internet and etc. And yes, I use it. Everyone uses it. It's a great promotional tool. But you also have to think about the basics of the relationship, the trust, the loyalty, the doing what you say you're going to do, doing it at the time you say you're going to do it in, being able to bring credible resources to the table, and also being able to look at the bigger picture and the timetable of the bigger picture. So I think what I do is not difficult for anyone to do. They just have to choose to do it. So I
Wow.
choose to do it. I choose to savor every bit of life's buffet. And I stole that from a friend of mine by the name of Steve Hirth, who is an incredible guy. But I choose to savor every bit of life's buffet. I choose that. And in choosing that, it's a responsibility that comes with that of credibility, of quality intelligence, of open-mindedness, listening to other people's opinion, but also of self-content and being very self-confident, that
Mm.
you're able to elevate relationships and people and projects and enterprises and take them to a new realm.
How did you start? You do multiple companies and multiple businesses. How did you begin that journey and what made you do it?
I began it by accident. I wanted to be a teacher and I wanted to own 100 daycare centers. And I wanted to get kids at an early age and influence their life so that they became um, the best that they could be. It didn't have to be the Martin Luther Kings of the world, or
Mm.
the Muhammad Ali's or Mahatma Gandhi's, or but the best of their element of what they could be. And your environment does not dictate to you your element. I know a young man, and I won't say his name. Both of his parents were crack addicts, but he's a Mensa. He is one of the most intelligent human beings on this earth. So your environment does not dictate who you are or what you can become. But back to your question, my father was a janitor. You guys call them engineers or something like that now, at Spring Cotton Mill. Spring Cotton Mill was in my hometown, and Spring Made are the pillows that you sleep on now, the sheets and the pillows and etc.
That's right.
And so he was a hustler, and he would do that as a full-time job with benefits, but he also did four other jobs. I mean, he ran a taxi cab business. He built houses. He had a second grade education. He could look at a building and tell you how many 2x4s were needed to build that building. He did whatever he needed to do to feed his family, educate his family, and show his family the love and embrace the family in love. And he was a Christian. So he would take me to work with him because that's the only time that he had to really talk to me. And
Mm.
so on his lunch break and during the time he was doing the hallways with a gigantic buffer, an industrial buffer, those huge buffers, he would sit me on the buffer, and we would, so to me it was a fun ride going up and down the hall. So he was getting his work done, but he was planting seeds in my head. And he said, whatever you do, I want you to get a good education. I want you to be more than I am. I want you to excel. But what he didn't know is he was giving me a PhD in life. I couldn't be more than him. He is the most intelligent man that I've ever met on the face of this earth. Okay. So, and then my mother was a cook and also domestic. She cleaned up some people's homes, but a cook at Clinton Elementary School. So she was there in my life every day at my elementary school. So I couldn't get in the lunch line without having white knee socks pulled up that were crisp white, with the pretty little dress on that was ironed to the T, with the hair pulled back and slicked. I had to look perfect because I was paraded every day in front of her friends. And she was one of those people who had personality plus. Like on days when it rained or bad storms, we would stay in the kitchen cooking pastries and gift wrapping them, and then dress up like gypsies and deliver them to the senior citizens. So my heart, my soul, my intellect, my spirit comes strictly from my parents. And that's why you can't say that kids can raise kids. You need the wisdom in there to teach kids the respect and admiration of their seniors. Seniors don't bring oldness. They don't bring old age. They bring wisdom.
Yes.
So I was like a sponge. I absorbed wisdom from everywhere. I integrated the sixth grade. There were 300 white kids and Jerry Witherspoon and myself. Jerry Witherspoon was my cousin. So I was spit on. My hair was set on fire. I was, well, they tried to beat me up, but I'm a good fighter. So it was an interesting life early on in Lancaster, South Carolina.
So
So
from
wait a minute. So you asked me how I started this.
yes,
So I started, well, I have all the degrees. So degrees are great. Yeah, I have all of those. But what are you going to do with them?
right.
So what I did is I did what they call cross-pollination with my degrees. So to me, there is nothing that I can't do, that if I don't know it, I can learn it. If I can't learn it, I can hire someone to work for me who knows it. A team is the best way to go with anything you do. As the first Black billionaire said, billion dollar deal maker said, Reginald F. Lewis, he said, for America, he said, keep going no matter what. And he said it wasn't until he realized that he needed a team around him that he was able to accomplish what he wanted to do. As you know, he did the first overseas leverage buyout, $1.4 billion. Not because black, white, yellow, green. He was the first man on Wall Street to do it. He's a black man. He was the only man in the 158 history of Harvard University to never apply. They came after him with a full scholarship. He's the only man that got a 90% return on his investment, what he was doing. He's the only man that basically bought, I think it was, off the top of my head, it was 61 companies in 31 countries. And this was over 35, 40 years ago. He had valets and chauffeurs and maids and huge estates and private planes before anybody even knew about that. So when I look at the admiration I have for the Jay-Z's and the Puffys and all those people and the Robert Smiths,
Yeah.
before them came Reginald F. Lewis. And there's a book that he wrote that I recommend that every entrepreneur, that every person of color reads, that every person reads, called Why Should White Guys Have All the Fun?
Ooh.
Yes. And it's on Amazon now. And I don't get a penny. I'm just telling you guys, you need to read it. And his wife just wrote a book about, it was released, I think, March 26th, 28th. It's called Why Should Guys Have All the Fun? Because when he died, she took over the business and ended up selling the business, I think, for $2 billion. And then they made that into $8 billion. So Loretta Lewis is a force of nature of her own. So we as people of color, we as people who want to do better, because now we know better, we have to talk to each other to help each other do better.
Wow. Wow. When I look at your bio and see all of the things that you've done, I want to target in on the Bizio. What is the Bizio and why did you create the Bizio?
The Bizio was created by a man by the name of Richard Thompson. Richard has an extensive experience in the back room of BlackRock, which everyone knows is the #1 investment financial firm in the world. Richard is a black man. And Richard thought to himself, we as a culture, we own nothing.
Yeah.
We use everything else,
Yeah.
Google, Microsoft, X now, TikTok, whatever. We use it, Salesforce, etc., but we own nothing.
It's true.
So Richard has been working on this for the last, I want to say 10 years. It's been a hard journey because we as Black people don't invest in each other. We have to be validated by another group in order to get an investment.
That's it.
So Richard had a hard time raising money. Come along 2.5 years ago, Tiffany Haddish did the seed money for $2.5 million into the Bizio. Then Richard raised another $1 million from his family and friends. And so now he had the foundation that he's created for the Bizio. And let me tell you what the Bizio is.
Yes.
The Bizio is the holy grail of the Black community. The Bizio is the holy grail of the internet community, whether you're black, white, yellow, green, pink, a midget, tall, don't matter. Okay. The Bizio is a one-stop shop. It's one license for multiple applications. And if you don't have it, Google it, patronize it, because it offers you an opportunity to be or do anything you want in life. If you have a business, it helps you to generate revenue and to multiply it. If you don't have a business and you want a business, it teaches you how to get a business. How do you get your LLC? How do you incorporate? What are your articles of incorporation? If you have a brand, it helps you to promote it. If you want to know about mental health, there are, I think, I want to say 4 million health care workers who will be launching in October just to help you with mental health. Our community has not embraced people with mental health. There's a stigma, and all communities have put a stigma on it.
Yeah.
So Bizio is for all communities. So it has film, music, science, technology, business, entrepreneurship, tourism, art, culture, history, everything on the Bizio. So if you're using what's the thing people use for their money? What's it called? To do their accounting. Oh my God, I forgot the name of it. So, but if you're using something online to do your accounting, or to do your Salesforce, or to do your emails, or to do your podcasts, etc., it can give you your own section, your own um, uh, opportunity silo that they can create everything that you want under that silo under your name. The Bizio is kudos to Richard, and kudos to Tiffany for being the seed money. And now since that, Malca Equities has come on board, and Malca Equities is securing the $50 million that he needs to launch globally. So that's really important. It's really important that people at least Google it, the Bizio, say you heard about it from Marilyn, and keep on going.
That is huge, because when I looked at it, I wanted to present it on here, but I was having technical issues, so I couldn't actually show that
I'll hook you
video.
up with Richard afterwards. He'll eliminate all that.
It is amazing.
But the we did the soft launch on the 26th of June, and we were privileged enough to have Gail King from CBS come to the soft launch, along with about 30 other private entities and family office owners, accompanied all of us at the soft launch. And then we had uh, we're privileged to have a young man who worked for the back office of Microsoft to join our technology force. Richard has what we call 60 technology assassins. There's not anything that they haven't accomplished in the world. So there's nothing that Bizio won't be able to do. So I tell all those investors who didn't listen to him, call him up again. Call him up again. Call me up and get in early stage, because this is going to be a unicorn easily.
I believe that it's going to definitely be a unicorn for
Oh,
sure.
by the way, it currently is helping with the back office of Ghana's stock exchange. But he's been very quiet about all this, because he wants to have everything done before he launches, but it's ready now for people to sign up.
I don't think that people really grasp what you just said, how serious this is. This is huge. So,
The only black owned cloud in the world. There you go. In the world.
ooh, y'all heard it first here on Lifestyle Mastery. This is huge. And if you know anyone that wants to be a part, where should we tell them to go if they want to
The
be with you?
TheBizio.com. The Bizio.
Okay, okay, I have it right on there. Good, good. So can you tell us a little bit more about Malta Equities?
Malca Equities really came about because um, I was already into creating paper and bonds and things of that nature, and so I had introduced my partner to what I call is the engineer behind creating the paper. He's a brilliant guy who n- basically knows the ins and outs of the financial world. And then my partner introduced me. My one of my partners is Moses introduced me to Michael, and Michael knew a lot about the financial global world. So we three came together, Michael, Moses, and myself, to create Malca Equities. It is a high level, high end. We create paper, but we also have private equity. We also have real estate investments. We also have a credit facility, relationship and partnership with TVT. We do 50 to I want to say 50 to 60, but they told me I was wrong. Probably 50 to $80 million a month in business loans. But you have to be. It's not for startups. You have
Mhm.
to already be operating and need a short-term loan because something came up. We also have select entertainment projects. So that's all a part of Malca Equities, but it's a and we just did a debt fund, so people will be able to invest in a debt fund. Separately, I have Windsor Primetime, which is a global brand architect firm that does strategic marketing, strategic communications, anything to do with tourism, elevated epic events management. I've done World Cup soccer. I've done the Olympics. I've done Musée National in Cameroon in Africa, which is considered the best orchestrated event ever in Africa. And I've done, loads of things for Coca-Cola, American Express, FedEx, et cetera, et cetera. So that's Windsor Primetime. So through Windsor Primetime, I also have other clients, and they have other funds and other things that they do. I'm privileged to have a new client, Stefan Marbury. I don't know if you remember him.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Well, he used to play for the Knicks. He lived in Asia for 14 years. And I, what's most impressive about Stefan is not his career, it's his character. He is all for the community. And I think his ideas were so huge at the time, it was hard for people to embrace them. And now that he has established even larger ideas and the credibility of an entire country, they put up a sculpture in his honor in a museum in his honor in China. And they have supported him every step of the way. What people don't realize is China has, I think, 263 million basketball fans. It has 100 and I'm trying to remember the exact amount. I think it's 143 million diehard fanatic basketball fans.
Oh,
He tweeted something the other day, and in 1 hour it was 18 million views
my goodness.
in 1 hour. He showed up at a place, and I'm trying to remember, it was a street basketball game. 30,000 people showed up in the streets. So it's a numbers game.
Yeah.
And to me, coming from Coney Island, because I didn't know Stefan's background like everybody else did. Matter of fact, I watched the movie The Boy from Coney Island on Netflix. And if you haven't seen it, it's a great watch. It came out during COVID. And it really gave me a real understanding of from whence he came. And then on top of that, I got to meet his mother, his brothers, his sisters. And I'm telling you, he is one of the most grounded, positive, warm, kind, creative, and visionary individuals I've ever met. And that's saying something coming from me.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, he is that. And you'll see more from him in the future. You'll see a lot more from him in the future. Trust me on that. So he's one of my clients. I have other clients that and other associates. One thing that's going to be coming out soon is a mental health initiative across the country.
Okay.
I had the privilege of meeting the Huntsmans who finance the mental health facility in Utah. So we're going to be doing some stuff together, some things together. And the list just goes on and on and on. I've just been very privileged. And then I just joined forces. Well, we've been talking about it for a while now. I've been thinking about it for years. But with two, three, we just added one more person, beautiful Black ladies. And we're doing a film. We've already done it, actually, a film and distribution enterprise,
Mm.
because they have like 20 years history in the film industry. I have like 30 years of history in the film industry. And so we decided to come together and to create this film financing situation, and also the distribution, because we were doing it anyway. So, and we were doing it effectively. So we have you'll be hearing more about that in the future. So if any of your viewers out there want to invest in films, this is a place to come. If you want to invest in a debt fund, this is the place to come. Malcolm's that debt fund. But we have so many things going on that are great, that are credible, and that have a proven track record and a proven history. So it's not like you're just coming out of the blue doing stuff.
That is wonderful. You touched on Stefan, you touched on Gail King. So you are involved with celebrities. How did that start?
It started way back with my mother and father, because they never met any strangers. So they were never afraid to go up and talk to anybody. It doesn't matter who you are. Um, Michael Lee Chin was my client. He's the billionaire that's half Jamaican, half Asian, and he's the largest shareholder for Berkshire Hathaway. So
Wow.
he took me to one of the shareholders meetings. And so we were at the shareholder meeting, and there was Warren Buffett and Charlie Munger on stage. And so, of course, when they came off stage, who's going to speak to him? Me. Why not? What do I have to lose? And his daughter, who sat behind us, you know? And so that confidence, it's confidence, people. You got to have confidence. And when I was I lived in Atlanta, Georgia for a while. Zernona Clayton, who's the actual first woman to have her own TV show, first Black woman to have her own TV show. Her name is Zernona Clayton.
Yep.
I ended up doing contracts for her and working for her, and was introduced to her by Ted Turner. And I was introduced to Ted Turner by Dick Parsons, and then oh my God, the general that died. His wife's name was Elma. I can't think of his name right now. I'm drawing a blank. But anyway, um, Ted Turner and Jane Fonda were married at the time, and they hired me to do an event for them for GCAP. She was running GCAP. GCAP was really to prevent young kids from getting pregnant, to help
Mm.
them to understand the consequences of that, and to help them to understand life. You know, Jane Fonda has always been huge doing things for humanity, and so has Ted. And so Ted Turner and Jane Fonda got up at an event, and Ted said, "If you want it done right, call Marilyn Crawford."
Oh.
That was it. My business just took off. Um, and then I was able to parlay that into multiple contracts with I did first time home buyers with Norwest Mortgage. I did Sesame Street, asthma prevention. I did anti-violence and anti-bullying rallies with Abe Poland. I did the very first celebrity basketball game with Julius Irving with Dr. J. I did, you know, a matter of fact, I was the first one to sponsor Bridgehampton Polo, first Black person to sponsor Bridgehampton Polo. And my guests were Ozzie Davis, Ruby Dee, and Mr. Graves, Barbara and Earl Graves. So I'm much older than I look. I'm kind of cute. But anyway, I have been honored and privileged. And it all started with my parents and doing the right thing and knowing who I am and knowing my value, because your budget might not be my value.
Ah,
So I can't help that because I know my value, you know. And from that, I've met many people who have actually contacted me that own family offices or wanted direction. See, when George Floyd died, there was this big thing in the paper, and all these corporations wanted all this press to say, we're doing the right thing, we're doing the right thing. Well, I bet you 98% of those people have done nothing. And I bet you, and I know some of them, and I'm going to come out with a navy blue uh, book report. And it's going to name the top 20 that did something and the top 20 that didn't keep their word. So I know for a fact that one of our major companies, and I was talking to the CEO, that's how I know, and I won't call any names.
okay.
But he said to me, I said, what are you doing? And he said, oh, we're doing a lot. We're going to pledge 30 million over 3 years for diversity, for DEI.
Mm.
And I said, you're a $19 billion company. You're going to pledge 30 million. That's $10 million a year. And guess what? That money was already allocated for social responsibility. So they didn't do anything different except get a lot of press. And then a lot of people that look like us with companies were the gatekeepers to keep us away from learning the truth, and said, oh, look at my company. We're doing great stuff. You know, I designed and didn't get one person to sign up for it. I put it on the internet. I designed uh, 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 a special program called Meet Me at the Bar, Boot Camp Against Racism, BAR, BAR. And I designed it for CEOs and wealthy people that are not minority, not Black. Let me just say not Black, to sign up for. And it was to put them through a 48-hour, just 2 days out of their life event, where from the time they got to me to the time they left, they changed and they experienced the Black identity.
Wow.
From being stopped in the car to being talked over in the executive boardroom, from being their IP being stolen from them. I had designed that. I didn't have one person sign up for it. And maybe that's because they didn't know about it, but they know now. There you go. But can you imagine, instead of talking about it, you actually live it for 2 days? Like that wonderful, wonderful historian, this Caucasian historian said, she was in a room, I think, I don't know if it was with Oprah or someone, they had a room with like maybe 30 people in it. And she said, white people, she said, raise your hand if you would trade your race for the Black race. Nobody raised it. Raise your hand if you do it for a day. Nobody raised their hand, because they know the challenges that you face as a minority. Now, let me all trans. I want to be very open,
Transparent.
very transparent.
Yeah.
My mother was white. She was considered Caucasian. My father was navy blue Black, and this was during the height of the civil rights movement. My mother's cousin Jim Coffin was the sheriff in town. My background is Black, Cherokee, Indian, Irish, and the list goes on and on. I'm very mixed, but I have an advantage. I was taught what it meant to grow up and have this skin color. But then I went on to be educated, at USC, University of South Carolina. I'm a Gamecock, at Harvard University, et cetera, et cetera. So my interaction in life has been with every walk of life. So my friends look like the United Nations. I have best friends who are both Black and Caucasian. So we help each other, and we become friends by the content of our character. So Martin Luther King was right on point. Muhammad Ali was on point. Malcolm X was on point, you know. So I think that in this society, we have to learn to speak up and speak out. We have to learn to not go along to get along. And so many people are in these executive positions of DEI because they're gatekeepers to keep you away from the real power and the real money. And that's so sad. They get their checks every 2 weeks and they're like, well, I don't know, man. I don't know if we can do that. Instead of taking it and fighting for it. Because listen, it's nothing for a corporation to give you $5,000 chicken dinner. We don't want that anymore. We want integration into a piece of the power base. Why? Forget about deserve it. It's just good business. If you have $100 million budget and you got 16% of your consumers, of your clients who are minority, who are Black, then 16% of that $100 million advertising or marketing budget, $16 million should go to their community. And I know this because I experienced it with working for a Fortune 500 company when the CEOs brought us all into a meeting because I had brought that up. And the EVP of advertising said, Marilyn, if I do that for your people, I got to do it for all. I said, well, do it for all. It's business. And then I said, I'm elevating and levitating from this table, so I need to leave. Because then I'm gonna get ethnic on you. So I need to leave. Okay? But the CEO was wise enough that he called me back to his office. And he didn't give me my full budget, but he gave me millions of dollars to distribute in the Black community. We need more people to speak up like that. That's our role. That's our calling. That's our purpose. And it's good business. It's not about anything else. I don't care what color you are. It's good business.
It is. I totally agree. I heard a statistic the other day that our community spends trillions of dollars. But where's it getting us?
Well, and give some examples so you know that. Here you go. You got, and I won't call names, but you got A-list rappers. Where do they go buy their diamonds and their gold? Not to the Black man who's Everett Davis, who actually certifies diamonds, who can design anything you want. No, they go to the other side. You got athletes, major athletes, who basically hire one from one other side. And then what they do is their real estate agent becomes non-Black, their banker is non-Black, their financier and financial solutions is non-Black, their insurance agent is non-Black, everything down the line. So how do you expect our community to ever get anywhere if you're not reinvesting in the community? Now, Jalen has the right idea. What's his name? Jalen
Hurts?
Huh?
Jalen Hurts, the basketball player?
Yeah, the one that says, I want to give back to the community.
Yeah.
He and Bizio will blow up. They will blow up together. He has the right idea. People like A-list celebrities, A-list professional basketball players. All of them should be knocking down Bizio's door now, because Bizio has a platform that is completed to do any business that you want to do ever in the world. And there's another guy. His name is Stephen Thomas. Stephen owns TPT, and he owns a business called Zoom, Z-U-M-E. It's traded right now, currently, on the New York Stock Exchange. How many of our people have invested by buying shares from Stephen? Look for those kinds of companies and embrace them. They've already proven themselves. Yeah. You're not taking a risk. And it all goes back into your community. And by the way, that's what I love about Stefan, because we're actually looking at opportunities for affordable housing, but not like the affordable upscale housing that is affordable. We're looking for opportunities for mixed use. We're looking for opportunities for putting in financial literacy, putting in grocery stores with fresh fruit, not just fast food restaurants. And that's what Tiffany Haddish is doing with her, I think it's called Diaspora Grocers. That's what
Mm.
she's doing in California.
Wow.
You know, it's out there for you to embrace. And you don't have to be a person of color to embrace it. It's just good for society, good for humanity. Embrace it. Oh, give me any more questions you got. I'm ready.
The affordable upscale housing. What does that look like? And how can the average person get into that?
Well, we're not ready for them yet. We're
Okay.
designing it. We're designing the whole concept, the whole structure. But next year we'll be ready to announce some things. Okay. So just follow me on wherever they want to follow me on Instagram or Facebook or whatever, because especially Facebook right now on the Bizio right now, whatever I do will be announced. Look in the Bizio and you will see whatever I'm planning will be announced. Matter of fact, they're setting my own portal up for me for the Bizio as we speak.
So on Facebook, you said, are you under the Bizio or what is
No,
it?
I'm just this was before Bizio. I've been on Facebook forever. It's just my name, Marilyn Crawford Global. But on the Bizio, it'll be L Marilyn Crawford Global.
Okay. Y'all
Yeah,
got that? I see you.
we're
Okay.
ready.
I'm trying to tell you, this is huge. Get in on the ground floor if you are wise. This is the time. Now is
It's
the
gonna
time.
be huge. It's gonna be huge. And you know what's so wonderful about it? It's not even about the money. The
Yeah.
money's gonna come. It's about the impact on people's lives. It's about the impact on the culture, on the community, on everybody's lives. It doesn't matter what color you are. It's about the impact on the positive impact on your life. So just think if you're paying now for this, and you're paying $2.99 here, $9.99 here, $24.99, one stop shop, everything you need, the Bizio. There you go.
I think a lot of the hesitation with our people is when we deal with our people, some of the things are sub. And so let me say, we are hesitant to want to do a deep dive because of that. What can you say to, not to change our mind, but to make us take that leap and say it's going to be okay?
Well, Dr. Smith, you're absolutely right. And I say Dr. Smith instead of Sheila because you earned it. You're
Ah,
absolutely right. Here's the thing, that has also been my experience with
yeah.
a lot of our people. So, what you do is you look to make sure that the person offering it to you has a track record,
Mm.
they have a credible history, they have tested it. And see, when we're talking about the Bizio, his track record is with organizations that are in the billions of dollars. He has tested it quietly for over 2.5 years. When we make the official announcement, we did a soft launch. When we do the hard launch at the end of this year, forget about it. Bandwidth, capacity, everything is ready. Everything will be ready. Now, with Windsor Prime Time with me, I mean, just tap onto the website and go through the gallery. I mean, literally, everybody asks me all the time, what do you do? What do you do? What do you do? They get confused.
Yeah.
And thank God I have clients that I've had for 40 years. A matter of fact, one just called me up that I'd had for 30 years 3 years ago, and that's the Lord and Lewis. Um, and they asked me to do things that I basically don't have as a core capability. But they said, "Oh no, you can do it. We trust you." And I was like, "I don't do that, but you can do it. We trust you." So they rather come to me because I have a proven track record of delivering than go to people who say they can do it. See, we waste a lot of money and time, especially Caribbean corporations, African corporations, governments, etc., hiring other people because they read about them or see all these commercials on them. But it's all about relationships. So, and people have given PR a bad name because they just hang out their shingle and say, I do PR. Well, can you call up New York Page 6? Do you know anybody there? Can you call up anybody at New York Times? Can you call up anybody in London uh, uh, for the British newspapers? Can you call up anybody on Africa 24? Oh, by the way, who's the leading media personality in Toronto? They don't know any of that. So be careful who you give your money to, because this happens all the time. And then after they've given huge budgets, then they find me and come to me and say, oh, can you help me with this? But I wasted my budget on ABC. You know, one of my greatest clients was FedEx. And I helped FedEx do their DEI. I'm the one who introduced FedEx to the NAACP Image Awards. And that was over, 16 years ago, and they're still sponsoring them. I introduced FedEx to Dress for Success International. I was on their board. That was over 16 years ago, and they're still sponsoring them. So what does that say about my credibility of introducing you to the right affinity groups or 501c3 organizations? You know, so you have to look at people's backgrounds. You really do. You have to understand what they've accomplished before, what their proven track record is, and then compare that to what you want them to do for you.
Wow. That was a master class.
Everybody tells me I should teach a master class, but
that's a master. I'm telling you, you just did. Because if that doesn't help our community when it comes to choosing who to deal with, the proven track record.
The proven track record. And also, you have to open your mind a minute, because it's almost like contagious negativity and toxicity that has been spread about the minority community. They don't know how to do it. Don't go there. Right. You need to get it validated by the white group before you go to her. You know, there was a billionaire in Africa, and I won't call any names. I don't want to embarrass anyone, who put a lot of money into a specific place, venue, and he needed housing for that venue. So I said, no problem, I can help you with that, etc. So the person that was his liaison called me back and said, can you pick a white person to represent you on this deal? And I said, why would I do that? My name, my background, everything speaks for itself. And they were like, no, but it'll be easier for the introduction. You know what? I pushed delete. I hung up because I don't want to deal with you. Because if you can't accept the fact that I'm able to do this, that I have done this, that I'll bring you nothing but positive success, then I don't need to deal with you. So a lot of times people have to leave America to get validated in credibility. Actors, actresses, etc. Will Smith, huge over in Europe, come back to America, huge here. A lot of times people have to leave America to get the validation to come back and get what they deserve. No, let me put that, that's wrong. Get what they earned and deserved here.
Ooh, I had to let that sit for a second because it's true.
Yeah, it's true. And you know what? You cannot keep blaming the other races. You can't do that.
Say that.
Because you have the ability to change yourself, you know? And sometimes, I'm gonna be very honest with you, sometimes their intent is evil. Sometimes it's not. They're just accustomed to doing it their way. They're accustomed to you being lesser of in their mind. I've been in meetings where people have talked over me when I'm trying to make a point, and I have to stop the meeting and say, excuse me, I'm talking. And they say, oh, we didn't mean to hurt your feelings. We didn't mean to talk over you, because they don't even think about it. It's just natural for them. So, and once you correct them 2 or 3 times, stop correcting them. Just let them talk over you, because they're missing out on a lot, because what you have to say is valuable. So just let them talk.
I know your parents are proud.
I pray that they are. I pray that they are. I just came from my family reunion, and visited my mother and father's and my only brother's gravesite. He died 4 years ago. He was an attorney in Philadelphia, a very prominent attorney, nationally and in Philadelphia. He was a board member of Starting Beazler, the Black Entertainment and Sports Lawyers Association. He was chairman of the Beazler Hall of Fame. So I got an opportunity to go visit their gravesite. And one of the things that I know for sure is that spirit was there, because when my mother died of cancer, my father died of a massive coronary. And when my mother was dying, her last 2 weeks, I left. I was leaving the house because she said she wanted me to go to my board meeting. So my other siblings came to take care of her. And as I was walking out the door, she grabbed my hand and said, "What did I do to deserve a daughter like you?"
Oh my goodness.
So I know I did my job while she was on this earth. And I know I'll continue to do my job when she's no longer on this earth, like now. So thank you for saying that. I appreciate that.
I mean, the information and the wisdom. I always look for people to impart wisdom to the audience, and you have done that masterfully.
Thank you.
Truly, truly. I'm at a loss for words, because to look at you and to hear what you talked about when you went into the cafeteria and you seen your mom, and your mom would see you, and you would have to make sure that your socks were pulled up. You had you learned the presentation early in life. Can you talk to the audience in these last few minutes about the confidence, how to have the confidence that you display, and how to stop the self-sabotaging behavior and the limiting belief behavior so that people can move forward in their success?
Well, think first you have to take self inventory. There's an old song, take self inventory for your woman in your glory. You have to do that for men and women, all ages. And especially you have to start in your tween years, taking self inventory. There are a lot of trends out here. Every trend isn't for you. So your self inventory includes what you want to be, how you want to be viewed, what you want to accomplish. And I'll give you an example. Um, I, I have kids of all ages that are my friends. I've mentored over 100 young people. I no longer do that because it really takes a lot of time. And even though I say I no longer do it, I still have like 5 people calling me saying, "Oh, Aunt Mimi, what do you want?" Yeah, they all call me Aunt Mimi. So here's the thing. I want to give a perfect example. I love the what the hip hop area didn't educate the younguns, as I call them, on what it means on certain aspects of hip hop. See, we had the same thing during my era, but there was a purpose and a point to elevate your mind, to elevate you. It wasn't the same monopoly over and over again about B's and H's and wearing your pants singing low and etc. It was about empowering yourself and elevating yourself and elevating your mind and being kind to each other and supporting each other and educating each other. So I wish a little more of that would come into play. And I was talking to 2 teenagers the other day. They were walking down the street. They could barely walk because they had their pants below their hips with the belts way below. So I said, do you know what that means? I just stopped and asked. And they said, what do you mean? This means that we bad. This means that we lit. I said, I know what lit means. I know what bad means. But do you know what that means?
Right.
So I literally got out my phone and showed them that it meant during slavery times you were raped. It didn't even come from incarceration. That was the second phase of it. It means they embarrassed you and raped you in front of your entire family, and then went on to rape your mama and your sister during slavery time. They were shocked. They were like, but everybody does it. Look at and then they named all these top people. I said, but now that they've become entrepreneurs, when's the last time you saw blank blank looking like that? The 3 people that they named, I asked them, when's the last time they saw them with pants hanging below their butt with their underclothes showing? And guess what? They're like, no, haven't seen that. I said, it's your choice to wear it any way you want. But I just want you to think about it. Now, they live in a housing complex, which is about 3 blocks over, right? And my neighbor's like, you shouldn't talk to them because these guys are dangerous. I was like, look, I'm standing in front of my building. If I can't talk to them there, where can I talk to them?
Right.
And plus, they were kids. They were teenagers. And I didn't approach them hostile, like pull up your pants. I just said, do you know where that comes from? And we actually started a dialogue. And they were actually interested. And so I listened to them, and they listened to me. So I would like to see more of that. They say the hip hop 50th anniversary, pivot, teach, learn, educate. There's a guy by the name of Johnny Nunez who is absolutely one of the most incredible icons in hip hop. Johnny is the king of content for hip hop. If you go on his site, you see Jay-Z's behind the scene. You see Puffy's behind the scene. You see Eminem's behind the scene. You see Cardi B's behind the scene. Offset, all that. He has over 400,000 images that have never been seen. Right now, I'm raising money because just like we have the immersion exhibit of Van Gogh, I want next year to do the immersion exhibit of Johnny Nunez hip hop. He has over 100,000 hours of video never seen. This is Johnny Nunez. Go on his site, you'll see. And it says Johnny Nunez has all the pictures because he does. So I want us to start embracing that aspect of the business. I want us to have schools that teach you don't have to get in front of the mic and rap. There are 100 jobs behind the guy who's in front of the mic rapping. I want to see music education in business. I want to see film education in business. I want to see, vocational businesses. Some of my best friends made their millions through styling and cutting hair. Playing football, playing basketball, playing soccer, playing whatever tennis is great, but that's not your only option. I want to open up all the options to them. When I was coming along, it was a teacher, doctor, lawyer. I didn't know you could be a compliance officer. I didn't know you could be a VC investor. I didn't know you could be an insurance broker. So what I'm saying is hip hop, I'm appealing to you. All you beautiful people out there with all these huge audiences, start making your songs about educating them about all the things that life have to offer. Not just going down the road, want to be a bee, want to go lay with the tongue. Come on. Give them a fish.
Ooh.
Show them how to fish. Give them a rod and reel and let them pull it in. We owe that to our young'uns. We owe that to them. And I got the phrase young'uns from Oprah. She used that for Legends Ball. She would call, there were the young'uns and the legends. and I guess I was in between, but it was the by the way, she is what you see, and she did one of the most fascinating, one of the most revered, one of the most epic event experiences that I have ever engaged in my life. And I've done a lot of my own, and she did that, because
You were
before all those people passed away, matter of fact, I have the book here, that she gave all of us a book. You want to see it?
yes.
Okay, hold on a second.
Yes, I want to see it. Y'all know I want to see it. We gonna see it. I'm gonna show you. Stay right
Okay, here it is. It's kind of heavy. Oh, I just knocked over the thing. Okay, so before all of Diane Carroll and everybody died, Harry Belafonte, etc., she did the Legends Ball. But not only did she do the Legends Ball, after the Legends Ball, each of the participants received a book with photos and information in it from everyone. And not only did she do that, she only invited 500 people, and each of us got a number. Mine is 121. And Andre Leon Talley,
yeah.
Gladys Knight, Tina Turner. So all 3 days of activities were documented in this book. And this is what she sent as a present, among the many other presents that she gave us while we were there. So my kudos to Oprah Winfrey for creating this and for envisioning it. I mean, this was May 13th through 15th, 2005 in Santa Barbara. So we weren't even, we need to do a lot more of that for our people with wisdom. I don't even call them seniors or older people. We need to do a lot more of that with our people with wisdom and honor them. Hip hop 50th anniversary should now be honoring the legends from the rock and roll days. We need to do a lot more intergenerational. I said to DeTavio runs Revolt. He did an intergenerational thing with Michelle Obama and Tina and all them, which was very nice. It was great. But I'd like to see more of that with just the average Joe Blow, intergenerational, some of my best advice came from people like this guy, Mandela, at his home. That's me, Mandela, and Michael Lee Chin. Some of my best advice came from Mandela, and he didn't talk above a whisper in his home. His home was beautiful. It was all monochromatic beiges, and you didn't see one award, not one honor, nothing on his walls, because he was about the people. He gave 27 years of his life. So his wisdom is immeasurable. And that's what I'm saying. The people that we have left, their wisdom is immeasurable. We've got to get the young folks with the intergenerational folks to talk, to listen, and to exchange information and ideas. The internet is fantastic. It's fantastic for that also. But we have to have somewhere where we can use it. And that's why I'm so proud of the Bizio, because on my, in my silo, that's what we'll be doing a lot of that for, Sorry, I went kind of off subject.
No. I don't keep it. I could honestly keep you for another 5 hours because that's how interesting you are, but I'm not going to do it. But I want to give you any last words you want the audience to know.
Truth and value yourself, your family, and your people.
Wonderful. You summed it up nicely. I want to put on the screen, we have the WindsorPrimetime.com. We have thebizio.com, and we also have malcolmequities.com. And to reach Lady Marilyn, go to primetimepop@gmail.com.
And
Let me,
put in the subject your name, Dr. Smith, and I'll know that's where we met.
wonderful. Thank you, Lady Marilyn. It is an honor to meet you and to have you and your wisdom.
I
Yes,
have
ma'am.
one question for you. Is
Yes,
this recorded?
yes, it will be.
Oh, because people have been texting me while I was on that couldn't watch and asked where they could watch it. So they can just go on your.
That link, because after this is live right now, so after this, it's going to be the same link that I sent.
So they can still go on that link.
Yes.
Dr. Smith, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for your commitment. Thank you for your effort. Thank you for creating this show to bring wisdom to people throughout the world. I really appreciate it. Anytime you want me back, I'm here.
Oh, yes. Very soon. Thank you, Lady Marilyn.
See ya.